Next news. Breaking news.
Spain just found out what happens when you cross President Trump. After the socialist Spanish government refused to let our military use bases on their soil for operations against Iran, President Trump did what no other leader would dare. He threatened to cut them off completely, a full trade embargo. And folks, within hours, Spain bent the knee. They folded like a cheap suit. This is what America First foreign policy looks like in action. No more begging our so-called allies to do the right thing. No more tolerating freeloaders who hide behind NATO while refusing to pay their fair share. Trump sent a message that echoed across Europe, and the establishment is absolutely terrified. So what does this mean for the future of NATO? We're going to find out, because why this matters to every single American watching right now. Our sons and daughters in uniform are executing Operation Epic Fury against the Iranian regime. This is about protecting American lives, and Spain, a supposed ally, initially refused to cooperate. They put American service members at risk because their socialist prime minister wanted a virtue signal to the global left. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he laid it out perfectly. Spain is the only NATO member not to meet their defense spending requirement. They're free riders. They enjoy American protection while refusing to contribute. And when we need them most, they turn their backs on us. But here's the beautiful part. President Trump's economic leverage worked instantly. The threat of losing all trade with the world's largest economy brought Spain to its senses in a matter of hours. This is what strength looks like. This is why elections matter. Under Biden, Spain would have gotten away with this betrayal. Under Trump, there are consequences. And every NATO nation, just watch what happens when you cross America. And speaking of national security, there is a developing story out of Washington the mainstream media absolutely doesn't want you to see. As Iran destabilizes the Middle East and President Trump projects strength abroad, the federal government just made a move that could reshape America's security posture for generations. And here's the truth they don't want you to know. Our nuclear submarines, our warheads, our next generation power grid, all of it depends on uranium, and we import almost every single pound of it from foreign nations. This is not just about energy independence anymore. This is about survival, because a nation that cannot power its own military cannot defend itself. That's why smart investors are looking at atomic minerals, trading as ATMMF in the United States and ATOM in Canada. They're working to help America secure domestic uranium supplies. When you understand the connection between national security and domestic resource production, you understand why this matters now more than ever. So make sure you take a look at the full briefing that's been prepared exclusively for Next News viewers below this video. Now let me show you exactly how this whole Spain situation unfolded, because here's what makes it even better. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, he was standing right there when Trump announced the potential embargo, and the look on his face was priceless. He immediately fell back to weak NATO talking points while Trump was demonstrating real leadership. Even Merz had to admit Trump was right about Spain. The Europeans know the game has changed. America is no longer going to be taken advantage of, and the whole world just witnessed Trump force a NATO ally to comply in real time. So let's take a look at what people are saying about this incredible moment. Watch his face. This is Merz's face as Trump trashes key EU partner. The German chancellor falling back on the NATO talking points. And we don't have audio on this one. Okay, so stand by. Oh, what is going on tonight? Yeah, this is just okay, we should have it now.
We are trying to
there it is.
Them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with this numbers, and this is 3.5 for military.
Here, I'll start it over for you guys.
The answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%, which we agreed on in NATO, and as the President said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that, and we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with this numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
NATO talking points right there. This is the initial reaction from Germany. It shows how Trump's threat is already causing ripple effects across European leadership. But the real question is whether he can actually target Spain without hitting the entire EU. Trump says he could embargo Spain. Spain's in the EU. You don't embargo Spain without confronting the entire single market. Saying you'll embargo Spain is like the EU threatening to embargo Florida. You don't pick off one member of a trade bloc without engaging the whole bloc.
Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous. But the right was given to us by the Supreme Court. And we have the right, as an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that with Spain. What do you think?
Well, sir, I think we're going to talk about it with you. I know that you have strong power. The Supreme Court clarified. We know you can use it, and if you need to use it to assure national and economic security, we'll do it.
Scott, do you have an opinion?
Sir, I agree. The Supreme Court reaffirmed your ability to implement an embargo, and as we've talked, from your first term, the Section 301s and the 232s have withheld more than 4,000 lawsuits, and USTR and Commerce are going to begin investigations, and we'll move forward with those.
And we've instituted a 15% tariff on everybody, as you know, and just used. I'll tell you, we had a couple of paragraphs written in that opinion.
President Trump laying it out. Well, experts debate the feasibility of isolating one EU member. Trump's team clearly isn't concerned with economic complexities. Early reports suggest the pressure campaign working. Nick Sortor posting this from the press briefing earlier today. Following President Trump's threat to ban all trade with Spain, the Spanish government has bent the knee in not cooperating.
So, because Spain is a member of the EU, does that at all put a wrinkle in the president's plan for a trade embargo with them?
With respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. And it's my understanding over the past several hours they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain. But the president expects all of our European allies, of course, to cooperate in this long sought-after mission, not just for the United States, but also for Europe, to crush the rogue Iranian regime that, again, not only threatens America, but also threatens our European allies as well.
Spain bending the knee. The claims of the capitulation are spreading fast on social media, but we need to dig deeper into what actually triggered the diplomatic crisis in the first place. President Trump warned a possible full trade embargo against Spain after Madrid refused to allow U.S. military bases to be used for operations linked to Iran. The move could have significant implications for NATO unity and transatlantic trade negotiations. So that is clear. I mean, you're not going to let us use your bases. We're an ally, right? Or so we thought. The dispute centers on military base access for Iran operations, revealing how Trump's foreign policy is forcing NATO allies to choose sides in a way that could reshape the alliance. We have this from March 4th, 2026. Spanish Prime Minister delivering a televised rebuttal to the U.S. president and his threat of a full trade embargo, asserting that Spain would not be complicit in a war contrary to its values simply to avoid reprisals. But Spain's prime minister wasn't going down without a fight. His defiant public response shows this diplomatic showdown far from over. We have this from the Treasury Secretary on the president's frustration with the Spanish government.
Trump's frustration with the Spanish government is justified. That, first of all, they've been terrible actors. They are the only NATO member not meeting their NATO requirement. That's known as a free rider. So the Spanish government is intentionally free riding off the U.S. government and all the other NATO allies who have stepped up. NATO has never been stronger thanks to President Trump. And the Spanish don't want to pay their fair share. And they said, well, we've got the Pyrenees between us and Russia. Well, the U.S. has the Atlantic Ocean, and we are the largest contributor to NATO. And then it was unacceptable over the weekend that the Spanish were highly uncooperative regarding the U.S. bases and what we could do with our planes as we began executing on Operation Epic Fury. So anything that slows down our ability to engage and prosecute this war in the fastest, most effective manner puts American lives at risk. The Spanish put American lives at risk.
Wow. So he's not mincing any words, and President Trump taking decisive action. And here's what the establishment media will never tell you. This wasn't just about Spain. This was a message to every single nation on earth. President Trump just proved that America's economic power is the ultimate weapon. No shots fired, no endless negotiations, just pure decisive action. In less than 24 hours, the defiant socialist government completely reversed course. They went from publicly declaring they wouldn't be, quote, complicit in American operations to fully cooperating with our military. You know what that's called? It's called the Trump effect. And this is exactly why the globalists are terrified of his second term, because Donald Trump understands something the political class never will. Respect comes through strength, not appeasement. NATO's never been stronger because our allies finally understand that there are consequences for disloyalty. Now, let me be crystal clear about what we just witnessed. President Trump defended American service members, held a freeloading ally accountable, and strengthened NATO all in a single move. This is why 75 million Americans voted for him twice. This is promises made, promises kept. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think President Trump was right to threaten Spain with an embargo? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Let's get the conversation going, and make sure you share this video with every patriot that you know, because the mainstream media is going to bury this story. They do not want Americans to see what real leadership looks like. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our coverage. And if you want to show your support for America First News, make sure you check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Patriots, this is only the beginning. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.